Hi and welcome back to Dusty Book Sniffers. For those that don't know, my name's Nicole and today we are here for my weekly wrap-up. Good morning or evening everybody. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day today to spend with me and listen to me prattle on about books. I do appreciate you being here and taking the time. If you are new here and you've yet to subscribe, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon beside it, and then that way you won't miss up any of my future uploads. So today we are talking a weekly wrap up and the books that I have read in the last week. Normally I would do this over on my other channel, Divana Lee Design Studio, where I would do a stitch with me, and then I would just, you wouldn't actually see me on camera, you just watch me doing my stitching, and I'd be prattling on about the books that I've read. So this week I have read 4 books, 2 of which I'm not going to talk about today, and the other 2 I am going to talk about. One is from an author I already know, and one is from a new author. So very exciting stuff. I always love coming across new authors. It always makes my day when they when I get a book. And that book I actually didn't pick. It actually came in the book grocer box that I got at Christmas time, so it was one of my Advent books, and so it was nice to get a new author to talk about. So we will talk about that one first. I've got my coffee. Okay, so the first book that I read was To Capture What We Cannot Keep. Now this is a historical fiction and it is set around the time of the building of the Eiffel Tower. So it is in the backdrop, and there's just little snippets and everything like that. Essentially it is a love story. It is a bit of a slow burn love story, and it's, as I said, it's set around the time of the building of the Eiffel Tower. So it is in 1887 if my memory serves correctly. It's not on the back, but yeah, so it was set in 1887. And so basically it's following the story of Katerina, and she is a chaperone for 2 wealthy Scottish young adults, essentially, because they're not children, they're young adults. And so there is Alice and there's Jamie. Jamie is very much interested in engineering, and so their uncle William has asked Kate is what she's referred to in the book, to chaperone them to around Europe. And so they find themselves in Paris at the time of the building of the Eiffel Tower. And so she is, and it starts out with her, Jamie and Alice in Paris, and they're going up in a hot air balloon where she happens to meet and connect with, a little bit of a spark happens, and she connects with Emile, and I'm not going to even try and say his last name because I will butcher it, I think, and he was one of the engineers, so of the Eiffel Tower. So basically then it just follows that there was that bit of a spark, and the story just follows along. There's some characters, there's a bit of deceit, underhandedness, and all that sort of stuff. There is a little bit of swearing in here towards the end. It wasn't too much in the beginning, but towards the end some of the characters are a little bit crass, and there's some drug use in here as well. And yeah, and then there's, as I said, there's underhandedness, and just basically the underlying love story of will they, won't they get together, because they are so different, the two people. Like, she's a chaperone and he's a little bit further up in society. There's definitely a class divide, and so yeah, so we just follow that story. It was a great book. I have never heard of this author before. It was published in 2016, and I believe it's got let me just have a look, 291 pages. This was a book that I've talked about on my other channel, and I love the cover. Like, it's got the gold embossing, and the pages on this are, I think I talked about it too in my TBR, and the pages on this aren't finished, and it's very soft and very tactile, this book. It was a great book to read, and yes, you can see I have annotated. That is just mostly for my future reference, dates and stuff like that of things that I want to further investigate around the Eiffel Tower and all the characters as well. So it is a novel, it's a standalone, and it was by Beatrice Collin. So really, like, I really enjoyed this book. Absolutely loved it. It was a great cozy read. I just curled up in my bed and I just read it, and I got through it pretty quickly. I absolutely loved it. And if you're looking for a nice cozy read that you could just curl up with, it's not too hectic, not too many people to remember, with a little bit of intrigue in it, and the historical facts behind the Eiffel Tower, and they're just little tidbits that just tweak your interest and, you know, some of the things that they were doing. And then there's about the gentleman that actually started the whole process of building it. He was like the entrepreneur behind it and all that sort of stuff. He's in there as well, and some of the other things that he was a part of. And yeah, so there's interference by family and all that sort of stuff. As you can imagine, it is set in 1887 and it spans about 4 years, I think, of time. So a very good book. I absolutely enjoyed it. I did go and do some research on this author after I finished reading the book, because I had never heard of her before. And I was very sad to learn that she actually was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 2016. And sadly, she succumbed to that disease in 2019 in February. So she's actually passed away. She's got a couple of other books as well that I'm going to look at, and I'm going to give them a read. This is a standalone. It's not part of a series or anything like that. It had the ending tied up nice and neat. So, you know, those books where you don't have to think about it, not left on a cliffhanger or anything like that. Just a great, cozy read. So, yeah, that is To Capture What We Cannot Keep by Beatrice Collin. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm sure you will too. Okay, so the next book that I read this week is actually called Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman. Now, this is someone that I have heard of before. I am absolutely in love with the movie Practical Magic, and her book that she wrote back in 1995, not 1996. I thought it was 96, but it was 95. And the movie was released in 98, I believe. And this is a prequel to that book. And so I was very excited to find this. This was one of my great finds that I found in a bookshop for $7. Brand new book. It had just had a little bit of a dog ear on the back of it, just a little bit of damage there. And so they put it up for $7. We have a bookstore here called QBD. And they have a damaged book shop that they call Book Etc. And so you can get books in there, and it doesn't matter what sort. It can be new released. If it's damaged, it goes in there and you get them for $7. Now, these books are retailing from anywhere from $16 if you can find them in Big W and places like that, up to $32 in some of the big box in the big bookstores such as Dimmicks and places like that. So I got this a few weeks, when was it? Must have been in January that I picked this up. It was, as I said, it was $7, and I finally got to read it, and I can honestly say I absolutely loved it. It actually fills in a lot of the gaps from Practical Magic. So it's giving you the backstory of their ancestors and how, if you've seen the movie, you know, like most people have seen the movie, a lot of people haven't read the book. But if you've seen the movie or read the book, you'll know that there's a curse on the family about love and all the rest of it. So this one actually is set back. Oh, I didn't write that. Didn't take a note of that. This is set back in 1664. It starts. So we've gone right back to the beginning. And basically, what is happening in this book? It is giving you the backstory of Maria Owens. Hannah Owens found Maria in a paddock, in a field. They call it, not a paddock, a field, a snowy field when she was a baby, and she raised her as her own. And subsequently there was, and this is pretty early on in the book, she's raising her and she's teaching her about the unnamed arts, essentially witchcraft and herbalism and all that sort of stuff. So there's a sprinkling of that through the book as well. And as I said, it's following the story of Maria. Maria was the one that created the curse on the Owens about love and all that sort of stuff. So subsequently, it follows her life from being found by Hannah. Then a tragedy happens and Maria leaves England to go to an island called... so she goes to the island of Curacao, and I think that's how you pronounce it. And that's where she meets John Hawthorne, and he's from Salem, and he's there living up freely and all the rest of it. They fall in love. Subsequently, she falls pregnant, and so he leaves her behind, and she's absolutely devastated. So she goes off and looks for him, and then she finds out, you know, that he has a wife and all the rest of it in Salem. And then there's a whole series of events that happen around her and her daughter, and them learning that there are lessons to all magic and that love is always the answer. There's a little bit of darkness, there's a little bit of there's betrayal, there's everything in this book. There's love, there's loss, there's devastation, there's secrets, there's magic, there's and ultimately survival as well. And it just fills in all the gaps and everything in that backstory, because they touch on that there's a curse on them in practical magic, and this just fills in all the gaps. There is a couple of other books, and there's also a sequel. I haven't read them, and they are on my TBR to read. I absolutely love this book. I just fell in love with it. I read it in no time at all, and I'm looking forward to picking up the next one. Although I can't find the next one. There is another one before Practical Magic, and I can't seem to find it in any of the bookstores. I have found it online, so I'm going to have to order it from Amazon. So I'm just waiting for that. I'll do that this week, and then that'll come, and as soon as it comes, it'll drop into my lap, and I'll fall into bed and I will read that. So if you like practical magic or anything like anything to do with Alice Hoffman, this is a great book to read. You'll absolutely love it. Another great cozy read, just to fall into bed, curl up in your blankets, and just read the weekend away. But that and I gave this one a 4-star rating as well, and this was published in 2020, so it is very new, and I think she done a fabulous job, considering there's been such a long gap between Practical Magic and this is a prequel. I think that Alison has done a wonderful job in filling in all the gaps and everything, and just making the story even more complete and more enjoyable. Alrighty, so that is it for me today. Just a quick one for you to sink your teeth in. Hopefully you'll pick up these books and give them a read. If you've already read them, leave me a comment down below and let me know. And also, if you've got this far, don't forget to leave me a book emoji, and keep an eye out for my Around the World book challenge. I've got another 2 books that I've read this week, and that is kicking off this week, that series. So have a great day, everybody. Don't forget to hit that like button and also the subscribe button, and then that way you won't miss out on any future posts. And I will see you all again next week for the books that I've read. Bye for now.